A year ago, we launched a series here on News Nation focusing on missing person cases that were not getting national attention. We are continuing that series every Thursday here on News Nation Live. And this morning, we are revisiting a case that still remains a mystery nearly 16 months later. It is the story of a young geologist named Daniel Robinson, who vanished in the Arizona desert. And in a moment, Daniel's dad, David, will be joining me live. But first, a look at Daniel's disappearance. Tonight, we start our series, Missing in America, taking you to where the people were last seen, meeting these families and bringing you their stories. And we begin tonight with Daniel Robinson.
This is the area in Buckeye where his vehicle was found. This is remote. The terrain is extremely treacherous.
Daniel Robinson was 24 when he disappeared, a geologist working his dream job in the Arizona desert. A coworker says Robinson left his job site on the morning of June 23, 2021. His Jeep, found a month later, crashed in a desert ravine. Robinson's keys, cell phone, and wallet were still inside, his clothing in a pile just outside the vehicle. But no sign of Daniel.
I do my job and find my son. He's my son, I'm his father, and it's my job.
For nearly 16 months, David Robinson hasn't given up on that job, searching the desert and bringing in his own private investigator. They took News Nation's Nancy Liu to the crash site. The investigator says too much doesn't add up, including red paint transfer on the side of the Jeep.
The vehicle was tipped over on the passenger side, so there's no red paint in this area. So how that got there, that's why I'm saying that vehicle did not crash here. That vehicle was, its last place of rest was here, but something was going on with that vehicle.
He notes other inconsistencies in the crash report.
The vehicle had 11 additional miles on it from the time the airbags deployed. It had 46 additional ignition cycles on it after the airbags deployed.
But Buckeye police say there's no evidence of foul play and have resisted a deeper investigation. The private investigator is also no longer on the case, but Robinson has finally convinced an outside law enforcement agency to go through Daniel's computer and cell phones for any clues.
They saw some of the things that I was seeing, and they wanted to look into it themselves.
While he waits for any information, he holds vigils.
As you guys know, I've been here over a year searching for Daniel.
And has organized dozens of searches.
Still don't have the answers that we're looking for. But we thank you for coming out here. It really means a lot to us.
Covering more than 23,000 acres, using four-wheelers and on foot. On at least two separate occasions, volunteers found human remains, which turned out not to be Daniel's.
Even though we didn't find Daniel, but it gave you some relief, a little, that, we was able to bring some other families some type of closure.
He raises money on GoFundMe and takes every opportunity to speak about his son's disappearance.
I was here to bring awareness to my son's case.
Even appearing at CrimeCon in Las Vegas. Robinson has created a robust social media presence, a sophisticated website documenting coverage of the case, and weekly live online updates, all to keep his and other cases in the spotlight.
I'm blessed that I have a small platform, especially on YouTube presence, as well as TikTok and Twitter. In that doing so, I'm able to also help other families. I had other families on my Q&A to be able to tell their stories as well.
This Army veteran with a new mission in life, one he says he'll never give up.
And no matter what, we will not leave a soldier behind. My son, he's my son, and I'm definitely not leaving him behind. That's thank you.
Local police investigating continue to say they have no evidence of foul play in Daniel's disappearance. Joining me now is Daniel's dad, David Robinson. David, you and I have spoken a number of times over the last year since Daniel's disappearance. By watching this story again, finding him must be all-consuming. You changed your life, moved across the country to search.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Yes, it's been very trying for me and my family, Daniel's siblings, his mother. It's been very trying, being out here trying to get the answers that we're looking for. You can imagine after a year now still searching for Daniel and not having all the answers that we're looking for is very troubling in our mental state. It's really, really hard. struggling and working with the law enforcement on the outside of Buckeye, trying to get more law enforcement more involved to a point where there's an urgency there. I'm still looking for that urgency after a year. A lot of urgency that will definitely give me more answers, but I'm still on the job. I'm still on the job, putting on my investigative hat, as well as being a father, but also being able to help others as I'm taking this journey.
David, I said a moment ago, Buckeye Police, they have a timeline on their website. They say they're still actively investigating, but there's no evidence of foul play. After all of your investigative work and being so close to this case, do you believe that?
Well, according to my investigator, I did hire a private investigator, and all the information that we gave them from tangible evidence of the red transfer paint, for instance, 11 additional miles, pressure on the windshield, the fact that we don't even know it's Daniel's clothing that's on the ground, haven't been forensically tested. Those type things will, in my opinion, based on my family knowledge of my son. I've been there from the time he was born. We have a great indication about the way Daniel thinks. So you put all that things in combination that will suggest foul play. Against what the Buckeye Police Department feel, I feel there's more to the story.
And you questioned, David, the timeline as well. What stands out to you that may be inaccurate about the timeline?
Well, one of the biggest things is the person that's last seen a person should be, that story should be vetted very well. And we later found out in my investigation, his story just didn't match the timeline. He said my son left, for instance, the well site at 9:15, but yet my son made a phone call, his final phone call to him at 9:28. Those calls and the desire my son sent a text message to ask for the location became unanswered. So again, like I said, my son called at 9:28. I'm assuming to ask for a direction. So the timeline is not right. When the timeline is not right, you really have to scrutinize that story a little more.
David, this is a tough question to ask, and I'm sorry for asking it, but do you feel as though Daniel is still alive? I
have to. That's the only one that's one of the things that keep me going. Is also crucial for my family, his mother. We're people of faith. We believe in God. We believe in miracles. Though sometimes I look at everything that I have evidence-wise that would suggest other things, I still keep that hope and that faith because we don't have those answers of where Daniel's located. So I always have to keep that faith that somehow I'm going to bring my son home alive. And I really want to believe that. And I'm going to continue to believe that.
I appreciate that. And David, as we look at pictures of Daniel on the screen, there's one video that I just love where he's standing outside and snow is falling on his face. He's got this great big smile. I want you to share with people at home your son, his personality, who he is, and what you miss most about him.
Yeah, Daniel's very free-spirited. You probably can tell by the pictures. He's loved by a lot of his friends. He's a very friendly person. He loves nature. That's the reason why he's a geologist. That's why he came out to Arizona. He wants to be able to be in tune with nature. Also, he's a very family-oriented person. He definitely keeps the family together. Like I said, he shows a lot of love to his family. We love him back. One thing I miss the most for me, on my perspective, is having a conversation with my son. My son always come to me. He come to his mother. He calls all the time. We keep in contact with each other. But for me, just having that 2-hour conversation that we normally have, where he's asking questions, he's wanting to know things, he get advice, his entrepreneur spirit, what he want to do in life. He always plan things and always look on the positive light. I miss those things about my son.
And do you think about what you would say to him now if he could hear you?
Yes, of course. I've been here over a year searching for you. I'm not giving up. He's my son. I love him dearly. I'm here to fight. That's what fathers do. He know I have his back, and I'm here for him. No matter what, I'm definitely here and want to make sure I bring him back. And I'm not going to let anyone stop me. I want him to know that.
Amen. David, you have become such a powerful voice for so many other families that you have come in contact with who are also trying to find their loved ones. What has that support and getting to know these families meant for you and giving you hope in your case as well?
Yes. One thing, it's always something light at the end of the tunnel. It's definitely been a long experience. But in that experience, when you're a person that just have a missing loved one in your family, you're unaware of what other people are going through as well. I found out this is not unique to my family. There's other struggling families that don't even have a voice, so be able to talk to people all the time and hear their stories, it caused me to be passionate. I couldn't be human without answering those calls. I just want to make sure that I'm helping the other families as much as I can through my journey, doing everything I can. That's the reason why I have the Daniel Robinson Foundation. as well as other events and things I do to try to make sure I can get other people's story out there. I'm very passionate about that. Want to help everybody I can. It's my duty and my journey as well to be able to do that.
Well, you're a great dad and you've got a big heart, and I know you've got a big support system behind you as well. And the most important thing is keeping Daniel's story in the headlines. We're glad to partner with you as you do that, David Robinson. Thank you for giving us some time.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
My best to you. And if you have any information on the location of Daniel, if you have any information in this case, the Buckeye Police Department are still actively investigating. You can also go online to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family,
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still out here searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this evening's Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son, Daniel, he's a graduate of the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina. He's also a native of South Carolina. My son graduated with honors in the field of geology. He decided to take his career and his life into Arizona to make Arizona great. He started here in Phoenix. He moved out to Phoenix, landed his first job immediately upon arriving into Phoenix with a company called Matrix Southwest Groundwater, also called Matrix New World. Matrix New World is an engineering company. They hire geologists like Daniel. He's a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. They give these geologists assignments to meet representatives of well sites. These representatives are people who actually build well sites in the desert. In preparation for things like the communities that will be built in the area. By law, these companies have to know if these wells that they are putting in the ground, getting the groundwater, is producing at least 100 years of water. Also, that the water is safe to drink. So, of course, they hire geologists to go out in the field to work those kind of jobs to find out the viability of those wells. Like I said, and to determine those wells can actually produce 100 years of water, and also the safety expert. Those waters are also tested in labs. So, you guys, his job is very important. As you know, Daniel was doing that job. He got assignment to go to 2 well sites on June 23rd of 2021. My son, first job site was out there in Buckeye. Both job sites was located in Buckeye, Arizona. The first one off of this road called Verrado Way. Some of you guys from Arizona know what I'm speaking of. It's off of I-10 here in Arizona. And my son did make it to the first well site where he was able to take some video logs and picture logs and things like that, and also notes. Of course, my son received a phone call, actually got a call from his job, and they gave him the information of the person he will be meeting off of Sun Valley Parkway. That's a little farther out into Buckeye, in the Sonoran Desert area. My son was to meet this worker out there in the Sonoran Desert at a well site. And of course, he got the information from his job with the phone number, the contact information. This person, his name is Ken. He works for a company called Weber. Did call my son roughly around 8 or so in that morning. I wish I had timeline paper with me, but he did call my son. My son missed his call. My son tried to call back. He missed my son's call. So it was like a back and forth thing at the beginning. But Ken, when he made the first call, he did leave a voicemail telling my son not to come to the well site just yet. There was some kind of issue with the fueling as he's waiting on a fuel truck or something. He's in a different location out here in Arizona. He would be there soon. In the meantime, my son, of course, we're trying to reach back to him, I guess, to check around to see if he's able to come up there. Actually, at the same time, get some direction. I know this because my son later texted him and asked for those directions closer to 9 o'clock, asking for directions to that well site. But that question, that text message went unanswered. There was no return text message from Ken, nor there was any phone call that was returned. But according to this worker, my son made it to that well site at 9 o'clock p.m., according to Ken, and they had a brief conversation about the weather. One point he said it was raining. The other point he said this appeared to be raining. What he told me, like it's about to rain, and they had a little discussion about it. My son, he told me personally that he felt the sale was going to pass and everything would be fine. But my son waved off to him. Make a long story short, with everything in between, he waved at him, got in his vehicle to never ever be seen again. As you guys, I can't tell you that he said he left around 9:15 that morning, but I can tell you by investigating and on my part, my son also gave a phone call around 9:28, almost closer to 9:30. And I'm assuming because of the context of him sending a message of direction, and there was no return. My son just couldn't automatically. He didn't call anybody else either. So it wasn't automatic. He know how to get to this location. So I'm assuming when he called at 9:28, he most likely was calling to get directions. The other part is, you guys know that this vehicle you see right here behind me was found almost 30 days later in a ravine, about almost a little over 2 miles away, closer to 3 miles from this work site, this well site. It's found out there in the ravine farther into the Sonoran Desert in a 20-foot ravine. 20-foot ravine. It don't look like it looked pretty flat on the picture there, but it's a 20-foot ravine. According to the Buckeye Police Department, it's lying on the side, as you guys can see right here behind me. The damages, I can describe those later, but the first initial thing was my son's vehicle, his clothing, everything on his body is 3 feet away from the vehicle in the pile. The safety vest another foot away to the right. He had one boot to the left over there on the other side of the vehicle, and there's one that's tucked up on the front end of the vehicle. So that's what the scene is. But according to the Buckeye Police Department, they refuse to look into this as a criminal case. It's a missing persons case. They stick by it, despite what the family believed that Daniel know about Daniel. He would not just leave his family behind. He won't live life as it is. This is something that Daniel would not purposely do. Daniel's born with one hand. He's not a mastermind to do all of that just to leave life as it is, as the Buckeye Police Department expressed to me. Maybe my son wanted to leave and join the monastery, become a monk, things like that. So those type deals is something I know for my son wouldn't do. The other part is, you guys, despite of them, the Buckeye Police Department feeling that my son had a severe head injury, that's what made him shred his clothes off and probably hit on a tree and died. One also told me as well, he died, succumbed to his injuries, and some wild animal got him. So despite all of that, they felt like he had a head injury. They decided to give me everything from the scene. The vehicle was found on July the 19th. They turned the vehicle over to me on July the 20th. I forced them to hold on to it for a while because I had a pen and meeting as well. I forced them to do some fingerprinting, some forensics work after the fact, after they got it to this compound, and as well as, but they did turn all those things over to me because they told me they had no more leads to follow. They dealt with the case. They told my private investigator I hired, as they gave him the black box data, that they wasn't investigating. So we definitely was giving all this information, tried to give it back to the Buckeye Police Department once my investigator came. You guys know about the 2 impressions on the windshields and somebody was trying to beat into the vehicle. The fact that the damage on the vehicle don't match the terrain. It crashed twice. Of course, it crashed somewhere else first, and then it made it, when you push something down the ravine like that, of course, it's going to crash into the ravine because it's rolling down a hill. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit, you guys. Some of my take on the shift gear. They'll say, oh, it was in drive. That's hard to believe. And the reason why I tell you guys that is because if you look at the shifter from the pictures, it would be more consistent with looking like it's in neutral. And because it was in drive, it'd be pulled all the way back down towards the floor area. You guys who drive cars and vehicles already know the way you can almost close your eyes and know exactly. You can close your eyes and know exactly. You don't need to look at the shifter. You can know what gear it's in just by the way it feels and where you move. You know what gear you're putting in. You just do it really quick. And I just look at that just by looking at it, and I would say that vehicle's in neutral. Is in neutral, is pushed down that hill, and it kind of consistent with what my investigator found. Looked like a stage event. The fact that we don't even know that's my son's clothing, there was no forensics done on clothing to determine that. The Buckeye Police Department even had us go put our DNA in the system. They had cadaver dogs to go out, they say, and search dogs that came up empty-handed. If there was his clothes on the ground, I'm sure them dogs would have found that as well. The other part is, you guys, the red transfer paint on the side of the vehicle. There's nothing red in the desert. The 11 additional miles on the vehicle after the first crash, The fact that it happened around 1 o'clock that day, the fact that the Buckeye Police Department claimed to have covered this area with the Phoenix Police Department. They used what they call as a Phoenix Firebird. That was on the 25th. We got a discrepancy on that. They say it happened on the 25th, and I'd say it happened on the 26th. But the thing is, it happened almost 3 days after my son went missing when they decided to put that bird in the air. So they covered this area. Then they waited another 2 weeks after that, and then they had Civil Air Patrol to come out and search this area by foot and by air, and the vehicle wasn't there. So despite all this information, the rancher himself who found the vehicle testified saying that the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior. They refusing to look at my son's case or anything other than a missing person, and he's definitely not making him a danger person with this head injury that they claim they believe he have from day one. So they dropped the ball, gave me everything over in the evidence bag, saying despite him having a head injury, here, Mr. Robinson, here's all his things. He's coming back from the desert almost a month later, out there butt naked, walking around with no water. He's coming back for his things, and that's the way it was interpreted to me. When you say you have a head injury, but at the same time you're giving me everything in evidence badge marked for safekeeping, which in the police world, when it's a safekeeping, that means we're just holding it until you come back and get your things. And so that's the way they approached my son's case. Damage it really bad, the chain of custody to you name it. So those are the things, the reason why I've been trying to push for the FBI. You guys are pushing for other law enforcement agencies to get involved. I referred some agency like Tempe, Arizona. My son is a resident of Tempe, Arizona. And I talked to the mayor, I talked to city councils, I even talked to their higher ups, the police chief and assistant chief, and as well. So talk to these guys and try to make sure they get involved in my son's case. He's a resident, and they can at least owe him that. So he's a resident of Tempe, Arizona, so they need to owe him that, due respect, as well as my son went missing in Maricopa County. It's a county. Maricopa County supersedes everything. Supersedes, you guys have a high interest in this case. My son's case with national. These guys are elected officials. You name it. So they need to step their plate up and say, hey, look, my son went missing in your county. So those are the type things I need in my son's case. I've been pushing over a year. I'm tired of waiting. A lot of times law enforcement have this luxury of waiting things out. I don't have the luxury of waiting nothing out. My son may be out there and I need to rescue him. I still need to rescue my son. I still need to bring him home to his mother, to his siblings who are at heart hurting, as well as grandparents, his aunties and uncles. We have a whole family unit. We have friends. So the whole thing is, I'm saying, you guys, I'm doing everything I can as a father, being here. I'm not on vacation. I'm a Florida type person. I like to be on the beach somewhere. I like to be in somebody's water. But this is desert state. I'm not on vacation. I've been here over a year, fighting, pushing, and even asking you guys to donate, things like that, just to try to make sure I'm here to fight for my son. I've been very effective. I've been helping other families, but right now, like I said, I'm constantly still fighting for justice for my son. But I want to go ahead because I can't stay on too late tonight. You guys, as you remember this morning, I did a premiere, and the reason I did the premiere, I had some things I had to take care of family wise. I still have to do that. So this Q&A is not going to be as long as I normally would do it. I asked my team to kind of give me some heads up, and to try to keep it kind of short this afternoon. But this evening, I definitely want to share some things with you guys that's on my heart. One of those things I wanted to, and it's going to be a bunch of showing you clips and things like that. And I want to start quick as possible. I showed it to you before. That's Shiro's Nation. She have a YouTube channel. She's a content creator, and she had made this video that really was everything. She was very accurate, and everything that I would put together if I had her talent and be able to put those things together the way she did. She presented it. So the thing is, I want to put that on just right now for you guys to watch that, and you can watch that again. Those who have watched it before, you know what I'm talking about. If you guys can watch that. And get what you can off of that, and I will talk on the back end of that. Also, I have a something I want. Matter of fact, I'm going to put some of that first, and then I go to Shiro's Nation because I want to put some in your mind first, just to be kind of cynical to what the Buckeye Police Department would have you to believe. And I would jump on that first, and then I'll go to Shiro's Nation's content. So if you guys can sticking here with me real quick here. I'm going to get it set up here. But yeah, definitely want to put that content up and want to explain the reason why I'm doing this so you can know where I'm coming from. So, all right, I'm going to do that real quick here. And let's see. All right, let me get it on here, you guys.
Push button start. Your finger is the key. To start or shut off your engine, make sure the key fob is inside the vehicle and the gear shift is in park. Step on and hold the brake. Push and hold the start-stop button until the engine starts or shuts off. To turn on accessory functions only, like the radio, push the start-stop button once without applying the brake. No more. Drive safer. Visit mycardoeswhat.org.
Okay, everyone. I put this video up because I wanted to be cynical in some aspect, right? And the reason why I did that, just to put in your head real quick, look at this vehicle on the behind me. I just wanted to show you that. Just look at the video behind me, and I mean the picture behind me. This vehicle is sitting on the side. The Buckeye Police Department want us to have. They said, hey, look, they hired this expert. Like I told you guys. Instead of them take the same money and put it into my searches, the searches I have done for over 40 some weeks have nothing to do with the Buckeye Police Department. No law enforcement agency came out to help. No, they didn't contribute a dime to my searches out there. The efforts is you guys donating your money and as well as your time and your gas money to come out there. Not one time did law enforcement put in money to the searches to look for Daniel. But I see them go into all these other kind of cases and put in millions to look for, even one case for a murderer. Turned out to be a murderer. They look for a murderer, spent millions for that murderer. So to find him. But the thing is, I'm saying is, they want to have you to believe with their expert who's never seen Daniel's vehicle, never touched it, never did anything to it, never physically saw his vehicle, and to see the damage. As my investigator have, they both are as the reconstructionists, but never ever seen it physically. Didn't even ask to see it. Didn't ask to examine the clothing, didn't examine nothing. The tires, whatever. Didn't do anything on the vehicle. They couldn't nothing. And but yet he made a full report that is in their police report that would say exactly what they were trying to say the first time. They just want Daniel's vehicle to be there and nowhere else. He wrecked himself. He masterminded this whole thing. He had a brain injury, masterminded this whole thing, and disappeared. And they also put in, of course, what my investigator found. It wasn't them that found it. The 11, not 11 additional miles. I don't think they put in their report, but they did put the 46 initial cycle. They say 40, but it's actually 46 initial cycles after the initial crash. And so they did put that in their report. Now, mind you, they're saying that after this crash, if you take it by their word, somebody crashed this vehicle. This Daniel's supposed to crash this vehicle with a head injury, and it's sitting on the side, and he was sitting there in the vehicle, sitting on the side, in his obviously in the seatbelt, and still trying to crank the vehicle while it's sitting on the side. That is physically impossible for a person to sit there and press the gas, the brake pedal. That's what I was showing you guys. That video to be cynical. You have to press the brake pedal and push the key. If you just push that. It's a push button start. If you guys just push that button, you already know what's going to happen. Just dash lights will come on and that kind of stuff. But this person, it had been an initial cycle. That means it had to be pressed with a brake pedal and pressed to trying to crank it up, right? 46 times. So who can do that when the vehicle's turned on the side? I know just like they think my son have superhuman strength, as they like to always say, and kick his way out the sunroof with a little key thing you have to use. I showed you guys that this morning on the premiere. You have to use a key to unlock that sunroof. Those are panels that can come off, of course, but you have to, use a key. Again, I'm gonna jump something real quick since I thought about that, and I have been jumping kind of quickly here. I'm going to show you guys something here as well that I want to share before I go to Shields Nation. I thought I was going to go real quick there, but I want to show you a couple of things here. Let's see if I can get it set up real quickly. And okay, let's go inside this vehicle here. I'm going to show us a couple of pictures of my son's vehicle on his side. First of all, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share screens with you guys again, and we're going to go from there. Let's see here. Share a screen there, and we're going to talk about this real quick. I'm going to go through these pictures really fast and just have a discussion about it. So I won't take up too much of your time. But one thing here, if you look at this, the screen here, see if I get it a little fuller. See if I can if you guys can, I don't know if that picture come out. If I have any problems seeing that, let me know. Let's see here. See if I can get it up closer. There we go. This is side of the vehicle while sitting on the side, like I told you, behind me, right? Interior of the vehicle. The airbags are all deployed. And I did hear some people come up with their own theories about the airbags. According to my investigator, this vehicle didn't have the sensor that will separate what airbag deploy based on somebody sitting there. According to my investigator, he said this vehicle didn't have that sensor. So if the airbag, all of them deploy regardless of who's sitting where, right? And that's what he's telling me. So I still haven't gotten into full research on that, but that's what he has told me. But the thing is, I wanted you guys to see, when I look at this shifter, if you look at it, it's not pulled back. I wish I couldn't find this other picture I wanted to use where you can see it from a different angle. It's not pulled back, it's more into the center. And we ought to know that this where the neutral is located. It would have been pulled back a lot farther, right? So those are things I've been noticing on that, as well as, let me see if I can get to the next picture here. I might have to skip through some pictures because sometimes the way I have this thing set up here, let's see. That's the shifter right there sitting at the after the fact. Once some investigator, of course, my investigator took the vehicle and then got it back from the Buckeye Police Department, pull it out of there. That's when it's sitting in park. So in the park position, it's pushed forward, right? So that's a couple things I was looking at. On the ground, again, you guys, one thing I want to point out right here, the vehicle's on the side. So they have you to believe that it went down in this ravine and somehow my son was sitting in the vehicle while sitting on the side like that, cranking it up 4 to 6 times, right? So that is crazy to me. That is crazy to even suggest that. That's some thing that's outside of reality. And my son is not a superhero. And that's some things out of reality. But the other part is I want to show you these pictures as well to point out. This is some pictures that the Buckeye Police Department gave me. You can see right here is their little equipment sitting there as they're getting ready to take these pictures. You see an officer standing right here behind that tree over that bush over there. This is what they said to you guys that, oh, we probably missed the vehicle. Oh, we missed it because the brush is so high and it's so this and that. That's the story they want you guys to believe. But if you look at this picture, you can look at these creosote trees. I think is how you pronounce those things. And how dry it is out there, how barren it is out there. You only see a few of them sticking up higher than this officer. And it's not too much over his head. If you look over here where his officer head is, it's not too much. His head's right here. The trees are a little taller, of course, but everything else is way beyond under his waistline, even down to this vehicle. If you go down that hill from this picture, angle of you actually walking down that way, this bush is right here would definitely be at least about your waist high or probably chest high is the far as it probably go. So that's one thing. The other part is you look at, this is the aerial picture from the Buckeye Police Department themselves. You see the officer sitting here. You see the little equipment, other officer sitting there. You see the equipment sitting out here. And this is the vehicle. So you're telling me you got a Phoenix Firebird flying over this area. You got a Civil Air Patrol and all of this. And you claiming you didn't see this vehicle because it wasn't there, you guys. You couldn't see this vehicle because it was so hidden. And the crazy part about this video, this picture, it's not a helicopter footage. They have yet. I asked them for every picture when I was in that meeting with them. The Chief Hall promised to give me everything they got picture-wise, which he did. Say, this is it. They put on a flash drive. I still have this flash drive to this day. And they said, this is all the picture we got, Mr. Robinson. That's it. Because I was fussing and complaining about they only gave me one picture of the scene. And they said they gave me everything. And not one of those photos they gave me was marked for helicopter footage because I don't think it exists. Because they haven't sent a Phoenix Firebird helicopter out there, in my opinion. I'm still waiting on those results, and I'm getting those. Those are coming in the coming days. But the thing is, I don't believe it actually happened. I think it's something that was told to my family and I just to make us feel good, like they went to go look for Daniel. But the real search that I was actually see them do with that Civil Air Patrol, I was out there on the side of the road to make sure they did that. Happened on the 9th of July, almost a month after my son went missing. So the thing is, so that's the urgency I wasn't getting from the Police Department, you guys can see why I need somebody else to handle my son's case. If you look at this vehicle, like I said, this is a drone footage, and they put that drone at high altitude to take this picture, and yet you still can see this vehicle. There's no way of missing that. No way of missing that. So I just wanted you guys to see that. The other thing is, if you go ahead and zoom in on this as well, this footage, I wish I can move this over. Yeah, there we go. You see this right here? They tampered with the scene really quickly. This is the day of it. Tampered with the scene. This box right here that you see is sitting right here. This is a box that's actually been inside the vehicle. It's been removed out of there. You don't see any evidence tapes around here. Forensic tape or whatever you say. You know how they cord things off. No kind of police work. You don't see any. Only thing they did is took pictures, things like that. And according to them, they said they had all these cadaver dogs and search dogs of guys. If I promise you, the rancher told me, I think he gave me about 6 officers, something like that, 5 or 6 officers. Every picture that the Buckeye Police gave me, if I run y'all through it, everything is consistent with what the rancher told me. He said, hey, they came with 1 razor, and which is a white razor they always bring all the time. With I think 5 or 6 officers. He said there wasn't no cadaver dogs. There was a dog. But he said Maricopa County didn't give them dogs because they are all in training. They gave them 1 dog that came at 10 o'clock at night. And that dog went out there for almost 30 minutes, and they brought the dog back because they said some kind of the mountain lion lives out there was stalking the dog. So all the stuff they was having us to believe, and about the helicopter, he said there definitely wasn't no helicopter out there. They used drones. That's what he told me before Buckeye Police Department gave me these pictures. That's what it was told to me by the rancher, and I'd be damned. When they gave me everything, all they gave me was drones. So it's really consistent of what the rancher was saying at the time about what was going down, despite the fact as well as the Buckeye Police Department told him that whatever you say, the first thing they said when they came on the scene is say, don't alert the family and don't alert the media that this vehicle is here. Don't alert them. So that's some of the things. And I have all those things, of course. You guys have proof of all this conversation between myself and the rancher and my investigator. But the thing is, I'm saying this is the testimony of what really happened out here in that desert when it comes to the police department. So that's the kind of stuff I want to kind of put that also out in the public. You guys, you can see again, another angle from their footage. There's nothing that would say this vehicle right here is hidden under some trees, or I guess what they say, oh, so thick and lush, we could have missed it. No, you're not missing that. You're not. Stevie Wonder could have saw that. So I'm saying, the thing is, you're not missing this vehicle. You're not even missing this vehicle. And this other thing I want to show you guys. I talk about all the time about I laugh because they want you to believe that this rainwater filled up in this hard hat, and that this rainwater so it kind of shows that what it was given to me. It shows that the vehicle was sitting there for a long time because it's raining in the area, and blah blah blah, and the hard hat in the back seat now fill up with water, fill up with rainwater. That's what they told me, this rainwater. But yet you got a business card sitting in the rainwater. I meant to do this before I started the Q&A today, you guys. I was going to start from the morning Q&A. I wanted to put a business card. You guys can do that at home and take one of your business cards if you got one and put it in a cup of water and see how many hours it takes before that thing start turning to mush, right? Imagine it sitting there for 30 days claiming. That's a hole in their story. It's no way that business card would survive and look intact, just like it was if you just dropped it in there. Excuse me. You just drop it in there and it's intact. You can read the phone number on it. You can read the person's name, producer specialist, whatever, best deal. You can read all of that stuff. The color's not fading off. The yellow's not coming off. The red is not fading out. Don't come with me with that. You know what I'm saying? So these are the kind of things I look at was given to me as a family member. Like, I guess, say, hey, this is what happened. Go home. It's nothing to see. All right. But this is other things I'm saying, you guys are sitting on top of the vehicle. This other side of the vehicle here, of course. But this is the box. On the window was out, busted, and the vehicle was sitting on the side. And if it was raining, it would not have filled up no hard hat. And so happened the hard hat, I guess, was standing up. But it was nowhere it would have got to being able to go into that hat and fill it up like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I'm looking at it from my angle. Other part is you guys can see this rock is pressed up against this when the vehicle, of course, that vehicle came down that ravine. Of course, that is a crash into that ravine, because if it rolled down to neutral, that's a second crash. That's what my investigator was speaking of. The other part is, unless my son is a superhuman, this is the panel that I'm telling you guys that came from the sunroof area. That's the panel that my son supposedly had kicked off. This is the boot that's stuck up on the front end, but this is the panel that's stuck up under the vehicle. It's stuck unless he lift the vehicle himself and slid that panel up under there and drop it back on there. That's impossible as well. All right, you guys. And the other part is, if you see this right here came from the panel. This right here should be on this side of the panel. That's a little part that this latches in. And I showed y'all that this morning on the premiere, where you take the key, you put in the thing, and you open it up. And then that's how you take it, get it off the sunroof, against the housing. And then you can get the panel off the sunroof. So the thing is, they want you to believe all of that somehow, right? And so I just wanted to kind of give y'all the idea of that. This is the boot still there, as well as the panel. That's why it's lifted up in the air, because it's right under the front end of this vehicle. So he's supposed to have kicked his way out the sunroof, took this panel, lifted the vehicle, and stuck it on there, stuck his boot up under there. And I'm sure put a rock there to make it look like it slid into the dirt or whatever the case may be. I don't know. And he took his clothes off. He did all of that, mastermind all of this, had a brain, and with the brain injury they claiming he had, and just ran off in the sunset, butt naked, somewhere, and he coming back for his things. This is the kind of idiocy that I'm saying that I have to deal with from law enforcement. And you guys think I'm a guy that use common sense. I'm a guy that live in reality and things like that. If it don't make sense to me, I'm not buying it. So I just wanted to share those things with you guys. Again, I'm going to show you some stuff with Sheroes Nation. I'm really pushing for time, you guys. So I kind of laughed at myself. I told my teams, I said, look, sometimes I get long-winded. I said, I'm sure they're like, sometime, I could get long-winded. So it's kind of hard for me to try to narrow it down, but I really need to narrow this Q&A down. But I do want to show you one thing. I asked for permission from Sheroes Nation. You guys can go to her channel, Sheroes Nation, and support her. Hey, you guys, she put some good content up there, and I want you guys to support her channel as well. Just go check her stuff out. Sheroes Nation, SHERO' Nation, Sheroes Nation. So you guys go on the YouTube channel Sheroes Nation, and you can see some of the things she put. She put some other videos that I really enjoy with Daniel as well as some other content, you guys. And you go on there and support her channel. That will help as well. But I'm going to show this real quick. And again, I want to play her video. It's going to take about 9 minutes. And I want to, you guys to watch that. And then once I finish that, I will be talking about the well site. And that'll be my final thing I'm talking about tonight. And then I can take some of your questions before I have to get off of the Q&A. But yeah, definitely want to talk about the well site. Again, we're going to go through that well that I have problems with and tell you the reasons why. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the first time here, the reasons why that well need to be checked out. Again, very suspicious stuff. Very suspicious stuff. And it goes along with the guy who last seen my son. So I guess I want you guys to keep that in mind as well. If you like this channel, of course, not if you like the channel, if you want to help this channel by me getting my son's story out, as well as being able to help other families who want to come on this Q&A, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, because what I'm trying to do is get Daniel's story out as far as I can, trying to reach that person that live in Alaska, that person live in Hawaii, person live in Wyoming, Florida, South Carolina, wherever, that left the state the day that my son went missing, saw something, heard something, and just forgot all about it, or reluctant to say something. But then hear you guys sharing his story and get it out to that city. He say, "Oh my God," or she say, "Oh my God, this guy is still looking for his son. I didn't know he was still missing, or I didn't know he's missing, or whatever." But I seen something that day on June 23rd, and that can help me. That can break this case. As in the point of the witnesses that I need, a person that have seen something or heard something, so and can utilize that tip number that I had on the bottom of the screen. So please, you guys, if you can right now, hit that like, share, and subscribe button to help the algorithms to get this Please Help Find Daniel YouTube channel out a little farther. So I really appreciate you guys for that. Again, that's the tip line at the bottom. But I'm going to show Sheroes Nation right now. You guys hold on for a second here. I'm not the biggest content creator, so I'm learning as I go. I still don't have the time to really sit down and do these things, but I'm working on it. All right, here we go.
These are facts you can't ignore about the Daniel Robinson case. What's up, YouTube? My name is Shiro, and welcome to my channel where I talk all things true crime, missing persons, and I share the untold stories of those in the Black community that need more attention. If you're new here, I want to welcome you. Come on in. Feel free to suss out my vibe, see if you like it, and if you do, hit that subscribe button. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know what's up, fam. So good to have you back in the virtual space once again, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your continued support. Daniel Robinson is a 25-year-old geologist who went missing on June 23rd, 2021, after leaving his worksite in the Arizona desert. If you haven't yet, check out the full story in the link below. Here are some facts about the case that are sure to leave you scratching your head. Number 1, ghosted by his employer. Daniel Robinson is a geologist who worked for Matrix New World Engineering in Phoenix, Arizona. Though he allegedly went missing on duty after leaving his work site in the Arizona desert, the company didn't post about the disappearance of their employee for 7 months. Daniel went missing on June 23, 2021, but his employer didn't publicize his disappearance on either of their 2 social media accounts.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Until February 3rd, 2022, which was National Missing Persons Day. They even had the audacity to include in the post, "We stand with his family and friends and are committed to continue the search to locate him." How's that? And what exactly do they mean by committed? Because by definition, to be committed to something means A, to carry out or perpetrate, B, to pledge or bind to a certain course or policy, or C, to be dedicated to something. Now, it has been confirmed that in the beginning, a few employees from the company joined a couple searches here and there. Well, let's just say I personally have a problem with this. I would have expected more. Someone even went as far as to create a new Instagram page back in October of 2021 in the company's name. I guess that was supposed to signify support in the search for Daniel. Well, that didn't last long. They posted a few photos over the course of 10 weeks and kept it moving. And by the way, the whole point of supporting an effort on your page is so that the current following on your page sees your post.
Duh.
It appears they may have just been covering their asses just in case someone came around later and asked, "Hey, why aren't you guys searching for Daniel?" And that way they could look like they were being the responsible people they aren't. Number 2, allegedly, the job had no safety protocol for their remote workers. Though it's a small firm with about 50 to 200 employees, in September of 2021, Matrix New World Engineering was listed in the top 200 environmental firms by ENR, the Engineering News Record online magazine. According to recordreach.com, it has a current revenue of approximately $32 million. So it appears financially they're doing okay for a growing company. But even though they made a monetary donation in search for Daniel, they have never formed a search party of their own to look for him. Mind you, this is a job which required him to work in remote areas such as the one he was last seen. And there is no evidence to support Daniel even went missing on his own accord. And therefore, the possibility he was injured on or abducted from his job site still exists. Allegedly, Matrix New World had no protocol in place for their remote workers to actively verify their location while on duty and has not assumed responsibility for Daniel's disappearance. They have not shown an active interest in this case, and the effort they've put forth, well, at least in my opinion, seems a little bit more political in a sense. Like,
let's make an effort just so we don't look like buttholes.
But my point is that they failed him twice. First, by not taking measures to ensure his safety, and second, by not initiating the effort to look for him as soon as he went missing. Number 3, if the coworker says it happened, it must be true. It appears that the entire focus and direction of Daniel's disappearance is solely based off one man's account, Daniel's coworker, who admits to seeing Daniel on the morning he went missing. Apparently, the Buckeye Police Department has great confidence in his testimony, which in turn, in my opinion, has had a major impact on the direction of this case. But there were contradictions in his statement to investigators with reference to the timeline of events and what happened the morning Daniel disappeared. For some unknown reason, Ken's inaccuracies don't seem to raise a big enough red flag to law enforcement. Unfortunately, in my opinion, their belief in his testimony plays a large part in why this investigation is still considered to be just a missing persons case. Because think about it, if his story doesn't uphold, it would unravel every theory they've come up with to this point. And that would mean that he could be withholding information, thus making him a person of interest, and therefore heavily support the argument that Buckeye needs to open up a criminal investigation. If he were... You know what? Never mind. I just want to know, why is it that in some cases you find that just because a particular person says something and appears to be a nice person, law enforcement will write it up as the gospel and conduct their entire investigation based off the testimony of one individual, as in the Lauren Smithfield's case, when law enforcement let this random guy walk out of her apartment without properly questioning him because, according to them, he was such a nice guy. And even after finding evidence in her apartment contradicting his statements, nothing was done about it. So, in this situation, Daniel's coworker gets to be the nice guy who seems like he's telling the truth. And even when it's brought to the attention of the authorities that his story doesn't add up, it just gets ignored. That's the frustration we are dealing with here. But keep in mind that all of this information is alleged, so therefore I, nor anyone else privy to this gets sued. Number 4, law enforcement lied. Not only did the Buckeye Police Department enter Daniel into the National Missing Persons database 2 weeks later than they said they did, they also did not fill out very important details about Daniel's description that a person would need if they needed to check the website and verify his identity. As many of you know, Daniel is missing his right arm, though nowhere in the description does it say this. As a matter of fact, they just left this part blank, and photo images of Daniel were not updated to the national website until July 9th. That was also the first time ever that a picture of his vehicle had been posted to the site as well. Number 5, the Buckeye Police Department has psychic powers. If you go to the buckeyeaz.gov website under the Daniel Robinson investigation overview and scroll down to July 9th, you will see a map of the aerial search the Buckeye Police Department claims to have conducted on that day. But what you will also notice is the distinct marking indicating the location of Daniel's worksite and another showing the location of where Daniel's Jeep was found. Though it wasn't until 10 days later on July 19th, the Jeep was actually found. At least that's the information that was put out to the public. So how exactly did Buckeye know the location of where the Jeep would be found so far ahead of time? I think I know.
All I gave her was my name and my birthday, and she started telling me everything that was going on.
I mean, if all you need is a name and a birthday, either one of them is psychic or they called one. Duh. As a community, we have the right to demand answers. And I'm in no way anti-law enforcement. I am only anti-corruption. My people deserve better. What are your thoughts about all this? If you would like to catch up on everything I've covered thus far, the links will be provided to you below. Also, the family could use your help. One thing that's needed more than anything right now are your donations. If you would like to find other ways you can support, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I'll be sure to leave the access link below. Please note that my views on how law enforcement and others have responded to this case are strictly my opinion and does not in any way reflect or speak on behalf of the Robinson family. Every judgment or criticism that I make is independent of the family's views. I speak for myself and I take full accountability for anything I say on this channel. To stay up to date and get real-time notifications on this case and more, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a beat. Until next time, love hard on the ones you love, stay around people who make you smile, and make it your mission to laugh as much as you can. May your heart always be super, super full until your joy spill over. And until next time, my name is Shiro, and I'm out.
And I definitely endorse everything she said on that video. You guys, one thing for sure, like she was saying there, they took everything one person may say. This whole narrative going to, I hope everybody can hear me. I have issues sometimes taking my mute off, but the narrative that's out there is based on one man's testimony. And again, like I told you guys before, the only persons I know, I don't see any report or any indication other than my daughter and myself ever been pulled into the police department, had somebody come at the police department other than me and my daughter when they took us to the back of the police department and had us come through a back door And lo and behold, when I look look at it now, we was inside an interrogation room. Never been in an interrogation room in my life until the Buckeye Police Department, where they was asking us questions. We sat there and it was, hey, look, you can think of anything, literally. So you guys hear the story about my son staring off at the apartment. That was way before my son went missing. They don't have any relevance to him going missing, but that was something they used to put in their report. So I'm saying is, you guys, it was this thing where they was really pressing, trying to say, hey, is anything you could think of? You could think of anything strange or any kind of indication of something troubling him or something, whatever the case may be. So we're sitting there straining our brains and, come up with something, that type deal. And that's the thing they needed to do that. So long story short, I'm right here. Also wanted to jump in and put in for you guys lastly about this well site. I want to go into that a little bit. And that's because I wanted to put more pictures and things up and videos. I had a video set where I wanted to show you guys my assessment, my driving out there, the way I have approached in my investigation. I approached this man's story, vetted. I did it from day one, if you think about it. The first day of my search, the first very search day I had out there in that desert, the first thing I did is made it to that well site. I wanted to stand. The crazy part about it, this company, when I won't say the company, but my son's boss, we followed him into that well site, to that desert. That was my first time getting there. When I say we, I was riding with another volunteer, and we was following him into that desert. We got right on Sun Valley Parkway. We went through that gate for the first time. For me, my heart was racing. My thoughts were, I'm finally gonna get to this well site. Because I want to stand at that well site and because I want to see what this man was telling me about my own son. I want to stand there. I don't want to feel my son. I want to put myself in his shoes and see what he was staring off to, what he may have been feeling, whatever the case may be. I just really needed to get there. And we was headed up to that well site, and we got to that little fork in the road they speak about when you make a right turn. He stopped. He got out the vehicle. He was trying to get himself together, trying to figure out what his turn was, if that's the correct turn, but nevertheless he said yes, that was it. So we turned down in that road ahead, the 2 mile, supposed to be 200 miles north to get to this well site. But I don't know how many miles it was. I just followed him. He ended up making a left turn into this little area, had a big brown tank sitting there and a big corral. There was a corral sitting there as well. You can see all the cows. You can tell the cows was there. And he said this was the well site. So I got out the vehicle and it looked right at me. I said, well, we couldn't find it. Couldn't find the well site. He couldn't find it. Eventually, we figured out the right location, go up a little farther. And then we went to the left again and he saw a well sitting there. He said, oh, this is the well site. So from that point on to this day, I was told that was the well site where my son went missing. As I was doing more investigating on my own, you guys, I listened to people's story. I listened to what they tell me. I listened to what the law enforcement tell me. I listened to what this guy told me that seen my son last. And he said exactly this. And I tell you guys this all the time, 1 mile west and 2 miles north. And you guys seen I did the video on the live. I did it also, put it on this Q&A before, where if you go on some of my old videos, you may find it. And I would do it again, but I still had that video where I actually vetted the story myself. I look at the odometer, I did my driving, and if lo and behold, the 2 miles don't take it to the well site. They keep telling me that was a well site. The well site where I'm about to show you guys that had a problem in it. The same problem that I had to go with the Buckeye Police Department, had to beg them to come out there to one of my searches to actually bring equipment. They did it twice, came empty-handed. They ended up coming out on a weekday, and I followed myself and one of my team members. We came out there with them on a weekday to look at one of the well sites. They didn't look at the well site. They claimed that was Daniel, but they look at the one I'm about to show you guys. They went into that with some guys from Maricopa County, posse or whatever they call themselves. And these some old guys had some makeshift camera that they was digging down in that well, and they scratched the surface of water. They didn't put the camera in the water because the camera can't be submerged in the water. They just wanted to go down there and look, almost like a GoPro type deal, going down in there with a light and look. And when they got to the water level, the camera come back and say, "Oh, there ain't nothing else to see here, Mr. Ryan. Ain't nothing there." Had ran some little cadaver dog. They said it was a cadaver dog, some white dog, looked like a pet, a family pet, and went around that well. Oh, the dog ain't learned nothing. I was supposed to just been settled with that. You guys know I had got a company come in there, and the company actually put a camera that went down in the water. And that's where I get this footage from, you guys. And the expert guy, he said, hey, look, when we saw this debris that I'm about to show you guys, it don't supposed to be in that well. And then you go farther down. I showed y'all this before. I'm just kind of telling you, narrating it real quick because I don't have time to show you the full video. It's thousands. That well go thousands of feet. It's deeper than the other well site. It goes down at least 1,000 feet. And but you can see some of the things that's disturbing. And the first thing I'm going to show you, first of all, one of the pipes outside the well on the ground level. There's a stack of pipes out there. It's been out there for years, you can tell, but one of them missing. The one that's missing is down in that well site. And that's what the first thing we saw when we were going down the well site. Saw that pipe, and he's like, what is pipe doing here? It's sitting in the middle of the well. It's leaning against one side. He had trouble getting his camera to go around it because he wanted to go down in this well. We want to get down to the bottom of this well. He had a hard time getting his camera to go around it, so he had to go through the pipe. And I'm so saying to this guy, so when I go kind of fast, you know what I'm talking about. He had to go through the pipe just to get to the other side of the pipe to go try to get down to the bottom of the well. But once he got there through the pipe, he realized that you could see the structure, which is a wood, the same wood that they use to lay those pipes on above the ground. One is almost like a train trestle wood. It's real thick and it's kind, you can tell that could take water and don't get waterlogged because I'm sure there's treated wood. And it was down in there, and that's what blocked the pipe from hitting rock bottom of that well. So once we got past even that, when you get down to the bottom, again, on the ground level, there's some fence in there that's been torn. The pipes or the poles or whatever have been missing on one of them. And now we know where those poles went. It went down to the bottom well. And then whatever, when that pole down the bottom well, you'll see it there. You'll see a mound of dirt sitting on top of whenever the pole comes straight down. It has some little attachment on that kind of lays kind of flat. So when dirt come down, it started to build up a little pile. That's an indication they'd be put a lot of dirt down there to cover up something. You know, this guy, like I said, if I show you both wells, the first well that we checked, straight down the bottom, no obstruction. You can look at the walls. He said, this is how a well's supposed to look, always clean. That well had a lot of stuff in it. And the only thing I'm looking at is to hide something. Now, we did at the same time still trying to locate, and I told you guys before, there's something to appear. It could be the trickery from the other little item that's down there that's kind of sitting at an angle. May look like the top of somebody's skull. We're not sure. But that's what it appeared to be. Because I do know when I did research, if a body's sitting in the water that long for a long length of time, if it's there, the flesh will dissolve. So the thing is, I don't know if that's the top of the skull. To hate for being so graphic about that. But that's some of the things I've been trying to reach out to law enforcement about, and they're not even jumping on it. So I'm really trying to get ready to start pushing it out a little bit more to the public, and hopefully one of these news agencies or someone would catch on to that as well, to try to get somebody to really retrieve. I did try to get some people to retrieve the stuff out of there, and guess what company does that, you guys? Weber, the same company that Ken worked for. They do that kind of stuff. They have the equipment to retrieve things. That's what I found out too. So if it's a company that can do that, I say, I'm not accusing them. I'm just saying, if a company able to pull something out of there, sometimes I wonder if the opposite is true as well. So the thing is, so that's one of the things that I'm definitely trying to get done to that well. Of course, it's a private well, and it got some little strain. So we need somebody like the FBI or some law enforcement agent who can really, outside law enforcement agent who can really do the right thing and have that well, by warrant or whatever the case may be, to go and search that well properly. So that's one of the things I want to show you guys real quick. I'm going to go and put this on the screen now. And I want to pause right here for just a second so I can explain this again. Let me go ahead and add myself in a minute and see here. What I was going to do is show you right here. This is the pipe that should be on the outside of that well on the ground level. And it's just sitting in there, but it was thrown in there lastly. So you got to kind of work. What we did is work our way mentally from the bottom up. The first thing went down in there was those pipes, of course, and then the dirt, and then the pole, the wood structure, and then the pipe lastly. And so I think all of that is designed to cover something up. And that's the reason why, I'm showing you guys that. This 100, when you see the numbers there, that's 156. He's pulling it back out because he want to come at a different angle. So what I'm going to do is kind of speed this up and try to get past this thing here so you guys can see where I'm coming from. I think it's around the 7-minute mark. Let me see here. We're going back down the well again. You can see, well, he's pulling out, but going back down again. And we're at 120. So it's at 167 feet when you get down to this pipe, right? That's the water level. You don't hit water level to 167, little more deep down in that well, 167, 68 feet down, and you hit the top of this pipe. But once you go in this pipe, let's see if I can get down here, 170 something, I think it was. See if I can find this for you guys. So you can see this wood structure that I want to show you. Let's see if I can get that. Okay, there we go. Now you can see the wood structure there, and that's the kind of pipe, kind of wood structure I'm telling you guys that was holding that whole pipe up. Because he was kind of amazed too that the pipe that's sitting that high at 160 some feet, and that's because if you go down through that pipe and come from the other side of the pipe, you'll see that wood structure, and so that's why he's gonna have to pull it back out again. And then he said, "Hey, we have to literally go through the pipe just to get to the bottom as well, because he can't get past because of this wood structure going at a slant at an angle, and that actually was holding that pipe up from hitting the rock bottom of that well, right?" So somebody threw that wood in, and then they threw the pipe in. Before they threw the wood in, you're gonna see farther down they threw the pole, the fence poling down, and as well as some other little item, but the fence poling that end up catching a lot of that dirt. That there's still a lot of dirt down there as well. So, and my opinion is to cover something up. So that's the thing is I'm looking into as well, you guys. All right, so we're gonna go here, and I'm gonna speed up a little bit. What he's gonna do, he's gonna have to pull it back out because he had to go back through the center. So once he gets through the center, he's gonna go down, and we're at 230 feet. Gonna keep going down as well. I wish I could show y'all the whole video last time before I kind of explain things as I go. But he's starting to disturb things, so that's why you see the pieces of the wood because he got to the other side. He also got to do an inspection, so you see the camera go on the side of the wall. That's because the deal was, in order for the people who own the well, in order for me to be able to do the search that I wanted of this well, they also got a free inspection of their well. This is a private well. And so it benefited them and it's benefited me at the same time. Give them a free inspection, meaning that they don't have to pay for it. And but I was able to get what I need as well out of it is to get this well searched, right, properly. Something that the Buckeye Police Department have done going into this well. You see we're at 400 and some feet down. This is the area where the water actually come in through the ground. That's why I had the little grooves in it. That's the water coming from the earth itself to fill that well up. We're down to 410 feet, but I'm gonna get all down to where I'm telling you guys what went in that well first, before you see the wood structure and before you see the pole. So down to 633 feet. I'm gonna keep moving a little bit at a time, you guys. See if I get down a little farther. We're at 743 feet down in that well, and it goes on and on. So if I just let it play, you guys, it goes on forever. It seems like. Because it's very deep. This well is very deep. It's amazing, but very deep. 800 feet. Keep going. 831 feet. And when I get to this pole structure, I will stop it so you guys can see where I'm coming from. We're at 960 feet. So it's getting close to what went down to the bottom of this well. All right. 900 something feet down. See if I can go ahead and get it up. Okay, here we go. I think I got that perfect. There we go. 938 feet, 939. And when you get down here near 940 some, that's when you're going to hit this pole. See right here, you see the pole sitting there, you guys. That's where these poles are actually sitting. Those poles are actually sitting outside. Like I said, that's the fence pole, and they had some sitting on the ground lying flat, and they were very long. I was wondering, I said, wait a minute, it's not a normal fence pole. I mean, these poles are very long. And so this is it, one of them down the bottom. And like I said, when I continue, you'll see what I'm talking about when it comes to the dirt that collected, right? Because they obviously, whatever they put the pole down, and you see the thing at the bottom as well. And then from that point is when they took the dirt and threw a lot of dirt down there as well. And it started collecting on, like I say, if you put something like almost like a shelf, and it started collecting because, dirt settles, it goes straight down. And so it collected on the ledge, you can say. So he's going down the pole. Let's see if I can, he's trying to get his angle to go down, but he's going down in the pole. And but then when you get to the little level, I'll show you guys what I'm speaking of. You can almost see it already, how much stuff is on that pole dirt-wise down the side of that well. I wish I could show y'all the other well, the well site, and you can see the difference between the sides of the wall as well, all the dirt and stuff that collect on the side of the wall, as well as this pole itself right here. And as you come down, see the ledge that's coming down now, you can see the dirt that I'm talking about at the well. Right, this area right here, if I can stop it, I should have stopped it right there. Right on that little part here, you guys, that's where the first indication of the dirt was collecting. When you get on the side of it, he's going to show you again. He tried his best not to hit this pole. That's why he's going through the side camera now, so he can come down. See all the dirt that's collecting on that right there? That's the dirt that's collecting from dirt that was coming down that well. And when they get to this pole area, that's what I'm talking right here. Oh, see if I can get it. There's something a little more. There we go. That's when you say dirt, because you would have seen all the metal. You would not see the amount of the dirt itself. So dirt came after this pole was down in that well. I could tell you what's on the ground level is a pile of dirt out there that you can use a tractor to use to get dirt. It's a big mound of dirt. There was a dig point that we thought at one point somebody buried something. I used my E-tool, something that we use in the military, to dig this mound out. One of the volunteers found it when I was in the area, and we're thinking somebody buried something there. Still trying to get deep enough. I didn't find it getting deep into that mound, but the amount of dirt itself, the big amount of dirt that's taller than I am, that's sitting there. Yeah, of course, that could have been where some of that dirt came from, or could have come from that. So those things are outside the well site as well, near the well site. But this is the dirt I was telling you guys about. And so it's starting to collect there. And then he started going down the pole again to come down to still trying to make it to the bottom of this well. We had 947 feet. 947 feet. And that's very deep for this well. All right. And we're not even done yet. It goes up to 1,000 feet. So let's see here. If I can get this moving a little farther. And let's see if I'm not going too far. Because I want to talk about it, you guys, on the other end. He started seeing some structure that shouldn't be there as well. Because you compare this to the other well, you can understand where I'm coming from, you guys. They put a lot of stuff down in here for whatever reason. And this pole is very long. So we see right here, when you get to this point to the bottom of this pole, you see right here to the bottom of the screen is another structure. That's something heavy as well. He told me that shouldn't be there. He does wells and specials all the time. That's another object that's very heavy, piping, that's down at the bottom as well. You can see it right there. It's really cloudy because all the debris, he's starting to hit that pole. He's starting to hit the rub against the side of the walls, and all that dirt and stuff is starting to come loose and go down. So that's why it looks this way, all mushy. And this is drinking water, you guys. So now you see the importance of my son's job. This well is supposed to be eventually drinking water for a community. And also, like I said, his job is to check that kind of stuff. The water is drinkable, as well as, of course, they're clean as well. I guess filter it out or whatever they do, hopefully. And but it's drinking water, groundwater, and his job is to also see if that well itself will reduce 100 years of water. Water is constantly in there for 100 years. So, but anyway, this is it right here. You start to see at 970 foot. This is some other object that was put down in there. Very heavy stuff. So they put a lot of stuff in this well for whatever reason. Just throwing stuff down in there, right? And so when you go down to this angle here, you see down at the bottom of that pipe there, you see something kind of look like a disc area. We don't know if the side of the pipeaway is going down in that dirt, or is that the top of someone's skull. So we're going to decide to investigate that as well. He and I was talking about it on the ground, and it looked very odd to him as well. You guys, you see all the other stuff that's the pole where it goes down in the dirt. So it's go down in the dirt. So it's enough dirt where the pole itself, you can't even see the bottom of that pole because it's down in the dirt. So I don't know how much dirt was put in. You're gonna see the starboard light come on, but how much dirt was put in there, but a lot of dirt. is there. All right, and here we go. See if I can get it a little further. Let's see. And mind you, when he does things on the side, you guys, again, he also see he's doing his job as well. He still have to do the inspection for the owners who gave us the right to go down to his well and do this. Right. So here we go, and you see the let's see if he's trying to position his angle of his camera because we saw the little disc thing that was very like, what is that? You know, and want to make sure that's not somebody's skull or that's just the side of the pipe itself that probably have a white ending on the bottom and the kind of the way the camera angle is hitting it. It may just be a pole or something else. Like I said, didn't get fully covered by the dirt. And this is the kind of things that you would think that the Buckeye Police Department have done when they said they come to search the well, but they didn't. Like I told you guys, they searched the surface of water and expected me to walk off from that. But you see right here on the bottom of the screen, oh man, let me see if I can get it stopped right here. But you can see in the bottom of the screen, look way on the bottom here, and where I paused it, probably didn't pause in a good place. But that's the area eventually you see coming up that make it look like a shape of a skull. I'm not an expert. I tried to get someone from New York to look at it. Didn't turn out right. But I'm trying to get an expert to look at that who can probably determine something like that. Or that just, like I said, the pole itself from that big object that's down in there that should be in there as well. But that's what I'm looking at, you guys. Let's see if I can get when you get a little closer. It's right underneath that pole there, that big structure that's just sitting down in there. Another part is his imagination that this well go a lot deeper, but because of the dirt that was put down in there, he couldn't get but so much farther. He tried his best, you know, just because that's an amazing camera. That's why I got to point it in. You see there, and he can kind of dig his way into soft dirt and go a little farther down, but he wasn't able to eventually. So we had to end the search. But at the time, yeah, this is where we're at right now. If I can get this camera to go around one more time here, I can't remember exactly when he did it, but you'll see eventually what I'm talking about. Once he get it, he's still trying to get the camera adjusted. We have 970 feet down in that well. And let's see here. If you look right there where he stopped, you can still see the disc right here to your left where the camera pole is going down. You look to the left, you see something white there. That's when you're trying to orient to see if you can get closer to see what that is, right? So you're trying to orient the camera for that to see if that's the pole, because that pole is look like it could be the pole going down in the dirt. Right there, there we go. Right there. What we're looking at, right under the 970. I probably bad spot to put that, but yeah, right there. There we go. Above the 970.71 feet, you guys. You see that little shape? That's what we're looking at. We're trying to determine if that's the shape or that's maybe that pole, whatever that thing is, that heavy thing down in there. That's what probably leaning, and that's the pole, and it's kind of white shaded because of the light of the camera, or if that's indeed a human skull, the top of a human skull. So we really don't know. We really don't know. I just really have somebody to look at that and try to determine that. So that's some things I'm saying there, guys. I'm pushing that out in the media as well. You guys can see this. You can start talking about it as well. To try to get the interest of the media and have somebody look into it. The FBI need to be looking into that. You know, somebody outside of Buckeye need to be looking at that. They haven't done it. They went through that well and used a camera that couldn't even be submerged underwater. They used a cadaver dog that I'm really questioning about. I asked them for papers to say this dog is certified. I still have yet to get the papers for this dog that was promised me. Lieutenant Angel was the name at the time. And so I still haven't got the certification papers. I can give you the certification of my dogs. When I say my dogs, the dogs we use in my searches is 3 different times, certified dogs that ping on the same location, a tree that's near the crash site. That Buckeye dog, they say with Maricopa County dogs, according to Buckeye, which the rancher says is not true, but didn't ping on anything. Didn't even find a human skull that was near the crash site that we found as volunteers. as people on the ground. So anyway, I just want to show you guys that. I can't stay on the Q&A too long, but I just want to show you this is the reasons why to go along with the fact that I have, like I said, been vetting the whole story. I vetted the story to show you guys that, look, that 2 miles that he said, 1 mile west and 2 miles north will take you to this well site I just showed you guys with all that stuff in it. So if Buckeye is vetting the story correctly, with the last person that's seen the person, it should be vetted, like I said on News Nation. That's what they need to vet the story. They need to check all of that area. You don't have to believe somebody to take their word like CEO Nation said, because they write it as a gospel, as she put it. Look, you need to vet that story. I don't care who he is. So the thing is, I vetted it. I vetted the story. I don't believe it. Like I said again, I ain't calling nobody a liar. I just don't believe that story. So you can say it in the kind of way I'm saying it that way. You can put it the way you want to. But the thing is, I don't believe the story. I don't believe it's true. And I have too many things like this. I have the inconsistency in the timeline, the change of the timeline with the second officer, the stuff he says in the interviews that changed. If 1 minute it was raining, the other minute it wasn't. It's going to rain. At the same time, I follow his tracks because it washed all the other tracks away, but his tracks were there. But here it is. You went to go look for him at 3 o'clock. If it's been raining since 9 o'clock that morning, why his tracks wasn't washed away? So it's all that inconsistency with the Buckeye Police Department as well. Have you to believe, again, I have to show you guys that just re-go over everything I was showing you tonight. He's somehow cranking the vehicle up 4 to 6 times sideways, sitting in the seat with a seatbelt on, with one hand, holding on the steering wheel, I guess, and pushing it and holding the brake down to crank this car 4 to 6 times with the car sitting on the side, right? They have you to believe that as well. This kind of crazy stuff that don't make sense, and they want to stick to their story. And that is the bottom line. No matter what my investigator and I showed them, find the sock that belonged to a sock with the sock that was found the evidence bag that they collected near the scene, as well as the red transfer paint, the transfer windshield, the data you guys heard about, the 900 page. I paid for that. That's from my investigator. It didn't come from Buckeye, the infotainment system information. That came from my investigator. He sent that infotainment system out to California to have it analyzed, and came back with that 800, 900 page report that I have. I still have that as well. And that's what all that stuff comes from, the data that half of the public don't know half of the story. So sometimes I listen to people and they make their theories and they have these answers. You don't have enough data. You don't have enough information. I can be honest with that to make a definitive answer. I mean, it makes sense about certain things about that vehicle, common sense wise, but it's not enough data because they don't have the report. Buckeye don't have it. They didn't analyze. They ain't seen no infotainment system nowhere. My investigator did. So the thing is, they don't have the vehicle, but they're making all these claims after the fact, after you guys been on their behinds from the public. They say, hey, we doing these targeted search. Where? What you doing targeted searches where? That I haven't done for 40 some weeks out there in the desert. And also the Buckeye Police Department is claiming that they're searching, looking at information from things found on the scene. Where? I'm just saying, I don't barely see them come pick some things up. They're still sitting out there that we reported. So that have been in relation to my son. The vehicle itself, you can't say you're doing some investigating on the vehicle. I have the vehicle. I have the airbags. I have the red transfer plate that's on the vehicle. I have those clothing items. The only thing that's missing right now from that scene, I had those two until recently. I talked to an outside department to take on my son's friends on the electronics. So the electronics have been taken care of right now, and I'm still pushing hard, you guys, to get the things done on the clothing, and which is ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me that I'm still here this after over a year. I'm begging law enforcement to do forensics on things that should have been done. Everybody's refusing to call my son a possible criminal case, refusing to look into it as a possible criminal case, and refusing to do the forensics. You know what I'm saying? I'm really, really stuck with that right now, you guys. Here it is. I've been begging you guys for money to get the forensics together, unable to because I have to take up so much other things here in Arizona, just to be here in Arizona, just to be able to get those flyers out. So those things cost. So it's very costly over time. And it was with the searches are very, very costly. And it's impossible to try to get up the money. As you guys see the GoFundMe there, you see how much been collected so far. All that money don't come in. You guys already know that the fees come out as well. But the whole fact is all that money is collection from over a year. And there's only, I think it's at near $300,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money been spent in my efforts. It wasn't just sitting in the bank nowhere. Those money that's being used. And you guys already know that it costs money to do everything I'm doing. So the thing is, even so, you can look at law enforcement. Like I told you before, they spend $1 million some on a murderer, just him alone. To look for a murderer. When they want to, they can use those resources, those helicopters, cadaver dogs, stuff that I had to pay for, a charter, a helicopter to try to go look for my son that law enforcement don't want to put a dime on. So that kind of stuff. So the thing is, I'm looking at it right here, and I'm sorry, you guys, I get kind of uptight. I've been pushing the corner for a long time, and I have to keep certain things. Like I told you guys, I haven't had a chance to even grieve my own son being missing, so I can try to stay sharp and make sure I'm effective for him. But again, you guys, that's one of the things. If you guys want to have something and say to law enforcement, I need outside agency. I need outside agents. I need the urgency after a year or so, almost a year and a half. I need the urgency that they give other people. I just put it just like that. I need that urgency to treat my son as if it's a law enforcement officer's vehicle. Let me move this off the screen. Law enforcement officer's vehicle sitting here, and I say this many times before. Law enforcement officer vehicle. Let's pretend right now. This is a police cruiser sitting on the side, and to be funny, let's pretend like they didn't find it over a month, right? But they found Low and Wholesome Rancher found a police vehicle sitting on the side, the police uniform sitting right here on the ground, 3 feet away. Good and well they would not be saying the same thing they're saying to me. No, we don't see no foul play. There's no foul play suspected. No foul play suspected. There would not be no forensics done on the scene, right? That human skull that we found not too far from there, a few hundred feet, they would have found that. The clothing on the ground, they would have did forensics, like I say, on the scene. The red transfer paint would have been found on that police cruiser, and all his identity and all that stuff is on the ground like that. His laptop, the web they're using, they cruiser is still sitting there. Good or well this thing. Every law enforcement agency in this country, the FBI, TSA, whoever, all of them would have been out here trying to find that officer. If it was one of their children, every agency that's, oh my God, a law enforcement son is out there missing. You'll find so many law enforcement money going in towards millions to look for this one missing boy. I want the same treatment for my son. I've been saying that for over a year. I'm not getting that. I think they think I'm playing. I'm not talking, when I say this, you guys, they know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to all law enforcement agencies. I don't have time for waiting on meetings, wait on the small talk, put my son at risk further when we don't know what happened to him. We don't know if someone, I get tips, crazy tips all the time, you guys. People claiming to have him, asking for money. I get all of that kind of stuff. And you think that's what families have to actually go through, and then law enforcement want to drag their feet on this thing? Imagine that. Imagine that. After a year, and you're still begging and pleading, and they're taking their time, and we're doing this, and eating their breakfast and cornflakes in the morning, and whatever they do. And but I'm here on the ground, pretty much trying to do it myself. I am doing it myself, and just like, they said the FBI said I'm doing such a great job on my own, they don't need to come in, but I think I'm doing a better job than law enforcement, the law enforcement here, than they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing is, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that strenuous, and that's one of the reasons why you guys know that I have started Daniel Robinson Foundation. That's the reason why I'm trying my best to try to get families on this Q&A. That's the reason why I'm writing certain things of trying to help people what to do when they first have a missing person. They don't come with a handbook. I'm gonna create one. So I'm saying, the thing is, I'm saying, you guys, no family should have to go through that, and that's what made me passionate about the pain that his mother had to go. You know how me and my family have such a tight knit family at first. There's a strain on us. And I'm smiling. That's from me, the pain. It's a strain on the family entirety, right? So everybody handles strain and stress a different way. I do mine in action. I'm here fighting for my son. I'm here doing whatever I can. I'm pushing the corner. It can't last forever. Funding don't last forever. And you guys know that, and the way I'm taking it, they think they're gonna wait me out. Yeah, it's on the time you're gonna run out of funding. You have to go back home. It may be true. I don't know, but I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep fighting and do everything I can to make sure that don't happen. I'm not going nowhere. Let's say I had to go home. I'm still not going anywhere. I'm still not going anywhere, meaning that I will be on their ass every day, every moment, and any chance I get. And I will put as much pressure on those apartments as I can. I will keep them in the public spot, keep them in the public eye until they do their job, what I think they should be doing. It should show some urgency. Until I see urgency and money spent on my son, I'm definitely going to be pushing this thing, you guys. You best believe that. So I just want to leave y'all with that, and I want to ask some questions if I have. I got like 15 minutes. If you guys have any questions, you already know. Put the word question there before your question, the question mark or the capital letter Q. I know my team's probably like, yeah. Oh, see, I got a message now. Hey, 2 minutes ago, you got 15 minutes left. I see that. Well, 14 minutes. But you know what? I want you guys to, if you have any question, I will come down. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate you guys for supporting this channel and, been fighting with me. Been fighting me from day one. I'm gonna say it like this: I'm not going nowhere, but sometimes I'm gonna tell you some things that goes on in the background you just don't know. It's hard, very hard. All right, I do have a question from Pamela Garrison. Thanks so much from Facebook. And if I miss your question time, I promise I will get you on the next Q&A. And that'll be, of course, on Wednesday next week. But I'll get those. Please bring your questions. If you are new here, please hit a like, share, and subscribe button now so you won't forget. That'll help this algorithm grow this channel. But again, I want to answer your questions. So I don't have 15 minutes. I'm trying to get the best and try to go through them fast as I can. So if you have questions, put that, like Pamela did, a capital letter Q first, the word question, followed by or a question mark, something like that, so I can see it. Because I'm just going to go moving around on the chats and try to grab as many people I can. Question and comments. Not far west from this well site is off the interstate. I-10 is a huge hole up against a little hill. I'm trying to find out the name of the area. I found it when I was hiking years ago. It's big enough for a car to fit into. Dangerous. Anybody can slip into this hole. I will reach out to you as soon as I find out. And I really appreciate it. You can go to Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com. There's a lot of vertical mines out there, Pamela. And you may be speaking of one of those. There's a lot of them out there. We definitely been running to those. And I say run into those. It's only two that I ran into, not personally, but some of the volunteers working with me with their drones. We found two. That's the ones I tried to get the Buckeye Police Department to do. They claimed they couldn't get to one of them. The other one they said wasn't really deep or something like the other. But the thing is, trying to get those mines, those called vertical mines, most likely what you saw. And that's what's dangerous because they have a lot of that. You know, you guys know that Arizona have gold. So in the gold rush days, these mines are still there from way back when. They just be sitting in the middle of the desert. And that's one of the reasons why you guys, they say, hey, why you need money? Why you need funding? I need things like that with drones. I was calling you guys for drones. I need specialized drones out there at the time to do certain jobs. But at the same time, those drones help too when volunteers are on the ground and they're walking there, we driving the UTV, ATVs is moving across that desert. You need those drones to do I do recon. I'm a military guy. We recon the area first. That help as well. So you can find out if there's vertical mines. We don't want nobody driving into something like that go deep down into the earth like that. So, you have to be careful and we make sure that everybody stays safe. We keep each other together. Page 45 in the police report states the driver's seatbelt was buckled. Okay, yeah. Well, how can that be if Daniel allegedly crawled out of the vehicle? Wouldn't the seatbelt be unbuckled? Well, according to the picture I see, it is unbuckled. It's kind of dangling there. But yeah, if they said that, I haven't read that exactly like that, but it was dangling there. If you guys seen the pictures, but at the same time, if it's locked, I would love to see. I don't have been to that vehicle, but I would love to see if my investigator did. I hope so. Buckle it up and see if his body mask actually sit, or that's something somebody did as well. Kind of buckling and sat on it and then unbuckle it when it was on the side. So can a human sit between where it locked at. So I don't know, but as in being buckled, what they're saying, yeah, it wouldn't make sense. Just like it don't make sense for a person to be able to crank a car 4 to 6 times or turn initial cycles 4 to 6 times. It ain't say turn the dash on, initial cycle 4 to 6 times while it's sitting on the side. So that's ridiculous for anybody to try to suggest that vehicle was there in that ravine sitting on the side for 30 days. So that's another thing. I'm saying that for a reason, because I hear a lot of things out there from people who don't have enough information. I get it. You go with some of the information you got that's in the public. You see something that Buckeye want y'all to have that they don't have themselves. They don't have no Daniel's vehicle to do all the assessment. They didn't do anything. My investigator did. I have those paperworks. But the thing is, it's not enough stuff out there for people to really know about that vehicle. PM channel, page 43, the police report states swabs of touch DNA were collected on the driver's side door. Steer wheel, start button, driver's seatbelt. Did Buckeye release the results? I asked for that. No, I've been asking that from day one. When I the one requested that stuff, by the way, you guys, I requested it a few days after they turned their vehicle to me. Over the next day it was found. But I asked them, I had to help, so it happened to have a meeting because I asked them to hold it for 3 days. And in that 3 days, I had a meeting with Chief Hall and the whole staff. And I told them, I demanded them to do some forensic work. I told them I demanded them do fingerprinting as well as what they did is so-called, they told me it was fingerprinting at first. And I just wanted the results of that. I have to this date to get results. One of the things is because they never even suggested even no DNA. Think about this, guys. Think about this now. You going in this vehicle and you getting touch DNA from a what you said they say the driver's door, the steering wheel, and the start button, right? All the stuff, right? But what you comparing it to? I mean, you already gave me the clothing before you so-called did this swab. You ain't got nothing to compare it to. You know, you get the point I'm making? They have yet to come to us as a family. Where they finally got our DNA on the system, I went to Nameless this year. As matter of fact, it's probably like 3 months ago now. This year, and I found out about it. This is something that should have been done on day one if they would have took my son's disappearance seriously. And I had his mother, had them to go reach out to his mother. I'm sure she did as well in South Carolina. And now they have that kind of comparison to something. We don't know that's Daniel's clothes sitting on the ground. You can't compare it to that. We don't even know that's his clothes. They don't even know it's his clothes. They don't have it even tested against that. I have those clothing items. You get what I'm saying? What they have to test against. So why are you doing this swab? That's why they have nothing back from it. What are you comparing that swab evidence to? Nothing. I have those things. They gave those things over to me for safekeeping. That's malpractice. If this was something that was done in a hospital and trying to help somebody, this is malpractice, right? So it's malpractice type stuff that's going on. So you guys, to answer that question, PM, thank you for your question as well. But that's the kind of stuff. Try not to be long-winded because I get long-winded and I start going on tangents and talk about other things as well. Because this whole thing angers me. Okay, question. Thank you, Barry. What exactly is Buckeye currently investigating since they gave you back? That's ironic you asked that. That's what I was just talking about. What are comparing things against? The vehicle was given to me the day after it was found, like I told you. And then during that meeting, a couple days after it was found, they gave me everything from that scene and safekeeping and evidence bag marked for safekeeping. I have 5 minutes, you guys. But for safekeeping. So what are they comparing things against? This is called malpractice. Then they go, here it is, you guys. Here it is, I think it was in April or May this year. They start asking me for my son's electronics. I think it's kind of ironic though, but we're gonna leave that to what it is now. Asking me for my son's electronics. I refuse to. They did so much, and when I say they asked, because they know they can't get it, they turned those things, it's my property. It's my son's property. They turned it over to me in safekeeping, and they can't get it back legally unless they get a warrant. And no judge would give them a warrant to try to take it back from me, so they had to ask me. And I told them, no, you're not going to damage anymore. My son, no, you need to get the FBI in my son's case, and I would give it to them. You need to get somebody like Tempe in Maricopa County, and I would give it to them, right? And let's go. But I don't want them involved. They already damaged my son's case. They don't need to put their hands on anything. And matter of fact, that's one of my deals. Their hand can't be on anything of my sons anymore. Let them go do their stuff. Let them handle whatever they got so far, which is bare, over to this other agency and let them continue this investigation. Save something in my son's case. Enough damage has been done. Save something that's left. You already broke the chain of custody, all this kind of stuff that I'm learning more and more about. Save something, get something. You know what I'm saying? Give them, if you have any kind of integrity for themselves, they would go ahead and allow another agency to come in and do the right thing. Angie, baby, thanks so much for your question. Any further information on the girl? I can't help but feel she is somehow involved. No, things have gotten very quiet. Like I told you guys, only person being into interrogation room was me and my daughter. Everybody else, like this young lady, was able to say what they say. And like she was Nathan said, they take it as the Bible and the gospel, and they put it, even let the lady upload her own text messages, hearsay, into their police report, because they're going to make sure, in my opinion, to paint the narrative the way they want this narrative to go. For what reasons? And we will find that out as well. I already have some things. But the thing is, I'm telling you guys, let me see here. And thank you, Sophia, everybody, for things you're doing in the moderation. I see I have a little bit, a couple minutes left. I think like 3 minutes left. But I've lost train of thought now. But thank you guys for being a part of this Q&A as well. I'm trying to find some more questions. If you guys have these questions, this one of the things for me is kind of hard because I am a long-winded person, and I will get deep into something because sometimes I do get a little uptight. You guys probably can tell. You would too. You're missing your son, and it's been over a year, and you get the same stuff over a year. Question. Thank you, Anissa. Thanks so much for being here on this Q&A, the YouTube side. Question. Have you considered taking legal action against the police department? Maybe that will keep them woke and wake them. You know, one of the things is, I guess because I was so involved with, and I am still currently involved with just finding Daniel. I mean, that's the number one goal here. You know, so all the other stuff can be thought about or talked about later. My biggest thing is to find my son. I really, really need to find Daniel, and I really need them to do their job. That's it. And you know, it's not just affecting my family, but it's affecting other families, because they can do that to me, they can do it to other people too. And that's the point. So it got to stop somewhere. Somebody got to take a stand, and that's where I'm at, to be able to take that stand to say, hey, look, let my son case go. First of all, I don't really believe, from what I'm searching anyway, that I'm supposed to be in Buckeye's case anyway. What department would be volunteering to take a case that don't belong to them? It should have been Tempe's case. My son is a resident of Tempe. That's the way I've been getting from different law enforcement officers from all over this country. But I don't know what Arizona's doing, and certain departments in Arizona will view it differently. But it's many cases I've seen. For instance, this one Buckeye resident, a person that lived in Buckeye, a resident of Buckeye, went missing in Phoenix. Something happened within Phoenix. It wasn't that Phoenix took over because that was the last place that person was seen. It's Buckeye's case, right? So we have an example of that, and I will be posting that as well on the Q&As and stuff like that, to show you an example how things are being done differently in my son's case. So those are kind of things that I'm looking into. My son's case should have been handled differently and urgently, like it should have. So that's why I'm fighting for you guys, and I'm going to continue to do so. I think I got 1 minute left, 1 or 2 minutes left. Pacific Breeze, thank you so much for your question and being here from the YouTube side. The coworker at the site where Daniel left from, have you talked to him personally? Yes, I did. Yes, I have. That's the first thing. One of the first things I've done outside of working with Buckeye, outside of talking to Daniel's job, is to meet this guy who says something different about the personality of my own son, that I've been in it since his birth, been in his life. I know a lot more than some co-worker that Buckeye wanted to dwell their whole entire investigation on outside of the family, and what I'm saying for a whole year or so. So yes, I did talk to him. I want to see this man look me in the eye and tell me that BS that he was telling me. And that's when he started changing the story, despite me letting the Buckeye Police Department know that. they're gonna stick with his story. They would not mention the stuff he told me that I'm telling you guys, and had witnesses with me too, witnesses with me when he said these things. So they don't want to put that in the report. Like I tell you guys, in my opinion, it don't fit the narrative. Anything that don't fit the narrative, that's what makes it. You don't see nothing in the report. The testimony from the rancher who said the vehicle wasn't there. You hear me talk about it. The only thing they said about the rancher, yeah, a local rancher found the vehicle. Period. They don't want to hear the part we said it wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior to that because I was there. So it don't fit the narrative. It don't fit what they needed to say, in my opinion. All right, question. I see in the comments that one of Daniel's stops was at the well site and one was at the crash site. What did the police offer as a reason for this to happen? None. They offer no reason. Like I said, it don't fit the narrative. Anything that don't fit the narrative, I'll go empty or ignore it. I'm out of time, you guys. But one last question here. Well, two last questions. I know they're gonna kill me. This one and my last one will be a thesis I see here. JC Adams, Ken mentioned a fuel truck. What was the purpose of the fuel truck? I'm not sure. And could it have been a dump truck carrying sand or dirt? I don't know. I just don't know. I just going by the voicemail he left. I don't know about fuel. I know they use certain machine, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they use some kind of pump that pulls the water up or something. I don't know. They can check the volume of the water or something. I think the way that thing worked, I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing. So I kind of, on my research about what my son do, I've seen things where they was pulling water and water shooting out the well or something out of I don't know. But anyway, I don't know what they do, but so I can't really comment on that, on if, it was a fuel truck or a dump truck and all that stuff. No, I don't know. All right, thank you, JC. Last question I have, you guys, and thank you guys for being supportive. And who else, everybody else who have a question, please bring those questions again. Please support this channel. Please like and share. Please invite other people. I really need to get Daniel's story out there, Father. I need to keep this thing going. We need to keep this pressure on the police departments who's all involved. I'm gonna tell you who all involved. My son is a resident of Tempe, Arizona. So in my opinion, Tempe, Arizona is involved. My son is missing in Maricopa County. In my opinion, the sheriff department of the Maricopa County is involved. My son, according to the Buckeye Police Department, the first search was almost 3 days after he went missing, was done by the Phoenix Police Department. They have some part into working into my son's case. And ultimately, according to this one witness or person who gives the whole narrative, my son went missing in Buckeye, Arizona. So they all have a part of my son's case, meaning that they all should be doing something, right? So that's what I'm saying. So that's where I'm at on that. Not a question, but I want to want you to know that I met with a retired FBI agent last Saturday while handing out flyers. We had a great conversation. He showed me his identification and assured me that he is going to look into the case and make some contacts. I guess I gave him some points. I guess I'm trying to read your thing correctly. And he was dumbfounded why the FBI had not gotten involved. He seemed to be a good guy. Hoping he follows through. I hope he do too. I hope I hear from him. I would like to hear. People say things, but I want to make sure they know I'm here. I'm on the ground. Contact me. My number's out there in the public. Buckeye have my number. A lot of law enforcement here have my number. Everybody can get in contact with me. They know how to get in contact with me. The FBI, I'm sure they're good at that as well. So one thing for sure when it comes to the FBI stuff, got things like I put in a report of death threats. The FBI didn't come in. There had to be something that the Buckeye Police Department invited according to them for them to come in. Even with that, Buckeye Police Department don't even care about that part of it, in my opinion. They have never contacted. Even when Chief Hall tried to pretend like he didn't know anything about it. Oh, I'm just not hearing about it. In this letter, I can show you guys as well. He still haven't done anything about it. So that's just empty words to me. This faking. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for coming to this Q&A. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Allow me to share with you some things that I have going on here in my son's case. Thank you so much again for you guys sharing my son's story and supporting and I've left my team. You guys, they've rushed me off now. But you know what? Supporting my cause, trying to fight for my son and my family, praying for my family, his mother, his siblings, my aunties, my uncles, his auntie, uncles, grandparents, you name it, my entire family and his friends. So thank you guys so much for being a part from day one. A lot of you, those who came out to the searches, those who passing out flyers, who's supporting this channel. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'll never forget that in my lifetime. So I really thank you guys for everything you all are doing and who you are as a people. You have great hearts. You have great minds. It takes a person with great empathy to even support, especially you ones that come here every Q&A, hear some of the same things over and over again. And that's the reason why this is channels for Daniel tell his story. And those things are over and over again. It's not those swelling reports you hear when all these agencies, you got a twist and turn and they have it on national news and they can carry this thing on for a whole month without a break in the news coverage because law enforcement is heavily involved and they always twist and turn it over a new leaf and it's all exciting, I guess, to the public. No, we don't have that in this case. You just have me. You have me telling my son's story and you guys are listening. I really appreciate that. So God bless you. And I hope I get to see you guys on the next Q&A. Please come out again. I'd love to have you here. God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.